Hello everyone, welcome to channel Qtomation. In this session we will see about assertions in Playwright. So what exactly is assertion? Assertion is a validation point added in test. So whenever we write automation test case, at the end of every test case we should add some validation point, because it is the validation point which will make sure that test case is passed or failed. It's basically comparing your expected output. If that validation point matches, that means test case is pass, and if that validation point fails, that means test case gets failed. So that is basically concept of assertion. Playwright provides built-in assertion methods to validate various aspects of web applications. These assertions are typically used with locators, page objects, or responses in Playwright test. If the condition matches, the assertion will pass, else assertion will fail, and the test is considered to have failed. Some examples would be validating whether the element is present or not, to check if your title contains some specific text or not, to check URL is equal to provided value, etc. And we can add single or multiple assertions in our test case. So if you go to official documentation of Playwright for assertions, then there are lots of inbuilt methods which are provided by Playwright for assertion purpose. So we will see some of the most used, frequently used assertions in Playwright. For example, normally assertions comes with expect function. So we have to use expect function, in which we have to pass locator, and then there are different type of methods which are given by Playwright. For example, to be attached, it will check whether element is attached or not. In case of checkboxes, there is one method called to be checked. So if checkbox is checked, this method will be pass. So locator we have to pass here, and if that locator checkbox is checked, that means it is checked, then it will pass this test case. Similarly, we have element is editable or not, dot to be editable. There are multiple type of assertions given by Playwright. So we will see some of the frequently used assertions. For example, commonly used assertions in Playwright. For example, for element visibility, we can use to be visible method. For text content, if in your test case, if you want to verify whether some text content of element is present or not, we can compare that text with this method, that is this assertion basically. Expect locator dot to have text expected text. To have text means it will check your, and the expected text we have to give here. It will check for entire match. If you want to assert partial text content, then we can use to content text method. It will compare for partial text. We can also assert with element attributes. For example, if you want to check whether specific locator is having specific attribute or not, so we can use dot to have attribute assertion way. So let me show you some practical example. So basically these are some commonly used assertion in Playwright. So I will show you some practical example as well, then we will understand better. So now let's go to Visual Studio Code. Let's create a new file. I am naming it as assertions demo.spec.js. So what is the first step? I am defining constant in which we have to use test comma expect module we have to import from Playwright. So this is our first step. After that, we can create our test block. So I'm just creating a test block. First parameter we have to pass. Let's say I'm passing assertions. This is the name of our test case. So I'm just naming it as assertions demo, comma. Then we have to use one anonymous function. In this anonymous function, we have to use page fixture. So I'm just using page fixture, or we can say page object here. And so this is our test block. Before this page function, we have to use async keyword before this anonymous function. And then we have to use await keyword here. And our first step, what is the first step? Page dot go to, we have to go to our test URL. So for demo purpose, I am going to use automationteststore.com. Let me open this URL. Yeah, so this is our test website which we are going to use for assertions demo. So I'm just putting that URL in page.goto, so it will launch the browser and it will open this URL. After that, let's see one by one some of the assertions of Playwright. So first we will see about asserting the page URL. We have way to verify whether we are opening the correct URL or not. So I can use await expect page to have URL, our expected value here. So if that matches, then it will pass the test case. So let's use first assertion for URL. So I will just use, so this is assertions for URL. So let's use await. We have to use expect function. So whenever we are using assertions, we have to use expect function. Page dot to have URL. This is the method. In this we have to pass expected value. So when we are opening this URL, obviously we are going to validate whether web page which is going to be opened, it is going to have this URL or not. So I'm just saving this. So this is our first assertion, that is we are expecting after going to this website our URL should be this one. So we are expecting our URL should be this one. This is our assertion method. So I'm just saving this file now. Along with that, I can also add one more assertion, that is assertion for title, page title. So I'm just adding assertion for page title. For that we have to use await, again expect function, and in this page again we have to use page dot to have title. So this will check whether our title is having our expected value. So we have to provide expected value here. So what is the page title here? How to check the page title? We can simply press Ctrl U. It will open the page source, and here we can get our page title. So what is the title for this page? So this is the title. So I'm just copying it and let's paste it as an expected value. So this is our title which we want to be there when we are asserting it. So now we have added two assertions in our test case. I'm just saving this file and let's execute this file now to check whether our assertions are getting correctly passed or not. So what is the command? npx playwright. Then we can give file name assertions underscore demo dot spec dot js headed mode and project equals to Chromium. So it will launch in Chrome browser. I'm just opening in debug mode so that we can control the execution. So let's start the execution. So it will launch the Playwright inspector and we can control step-by-step test execution. Okay, something error. So what is the error here? Okay, so in command we haven't provided npx playwright test, right? So what is the command actually? We have to use npx playwright test and then the file name. Now it should execute it. It is starting the test case. It is launching the Playwright inspector and also browser. So now I'm just pressing on next. So it will open that URL. It will open this URL. Now when I click on next, it will go for step 7 here to check that page is having URL like this or not. So first assertion is passed. After that second assertion, it will check whether our page is having title like this or not. So title should be, this is the expected value which we have provided. So when I click on next, test case is passed. If you see, test case is passed. That means our assertions successfully passed. The value were correct. Now, what happens if you provide incorrect? So if assertion fails, then that also we can check. So now we are expecting the page to have title like this, but I am going to make some changes in this. So let's say I am putting some incorrect value. Let's say XYZ. So now it will fail because this assertion will pass. To have URL up to this step, it will be correct. But for this assertion, now we are provided the condition that it should have title this one. But in reality, title will be different. So it should fail the test case now. So let's execute the same test case again. So I'm just executing the same test case again. But this time assertion should fail now. So it is starting the test case. It will launch the Playwright inspector. So inspector is launched. Also browser is also launched. Now we will see step-by-step execution. When I click on next, it will open the web page. On next step, it will verify whether to have URL as like this. This will pass. In the next step, it will verify title. To have title, this one. But now if I click on next, it will fail the test case. If you see, you can see the test output here. The test case is failed and also it is opening the test report. If you see the report, it is clearly saying expected string, this one. So we have put this as a expected string. But the received string means what is the actual title it has received. It has received this one. So both are not matching. So the received and expected, these two are not matching. That means assertion failed. Assertion failed means our test case got failed. So that is the main working of assertion. Now along with this, we can see now some more examples. So we have seen asserting the page URL, just we have seen. Asserting the page title also we have just explored it. Now after opening this web page, I will show you how to check whether if an element is visible or not. So once you open this web page, after opening this web page, I want to check this logo is present or not. This logo is visible or not. So I will just inspect element. Let's find out some XPath for this element. So if you see what is highlighting, it is having image tag and alt text as automation test store. I'm just using this automation test store alt text. I can create my own XPath. So how to create the XPath? 2 times /img tag name, and then I can use @alt equals to the text which we have copied. So if you see, it is highlighting only single element. So this is a custom XPath for relative XPath for this logo. So I'm just copying this, and let's put this in our next assertion, that is element visibility assertion. So we have to simply use, first I will just create one constant, let's say logo equals to page dot locator. Inside this I am passing that locator, so it is capturing that locator inside this logo, and then we can use expect function. So I will just use await expect function. Inside this expect I will put logo. We just want to check it is visible or not, so we have one method, that is to be visible. So when we are using this assertion, it will check for this logo element is visible or not. If it is visible, it will pass the assertion. So let's execute this, but before that we have to change this, or let's say I am just commenting this one. The previous assertion I am just commenting, otherwise it will fail the test case. So we are having 1 and 2 assertions so far which will pass. So I am just ending this process. Let's execute again. This time I am not executing in debug mode, I am just opening in directly normal mode. So let's execute. It will launch the test case now. It is launching the test case. So it will open the URL. It will check if the logo is visible or not. And logo is visible, that's why the test case got passed. If you see, test case got passed. So this assertion also passed. Now let's move to next assertion. Now for text content, we can also have some text content related assertions as well. So if you want, so there are two types. Basically you can have partial text matching, also you can have exact text matching as well. So let's check for some both these text specific methods. So what I will do, so once we are opening this web page, so once we are on this web page, what I will check, let's say one of the product here. For this product I will check whether whenever you click on this product name, I want to check this is text is present or not, entire text is present or not. I want to verify this text is present or not. So what we can do is, let's say I'm creating one more assertion, that is for text, but this is for exact match. So I'm creating one constant, let's say product name equals to, we have to locate that product link first, page dot locator. In this we have to pass the locator. So let's first find out the locator for this. So anchor tag, and we can use title here. So title is this one. So with this I can create the XPath. So I'm just creating one XPath, anchor tag @title equals to this one. If you see, it is highlighting 2 elements currently. There might be possibility that there are 2 elements. So we can have some another parameter as well, or let's say some use another name. Instead of this one, let's say I'm going to inspect this one. For this, let's check out. So I'm just copying this title. This is again having 2 times. So there is one 2 times, yeah. So what I will do, we can use nth index, right? So if you put nth 0th index, it will capture the first one. So I'm just using it. Page dot locator. Inside this we have to put that locator, and we have to capture the first one, that is nth 0 index. So it will capture only the first element. And from this product name, what we want to do is we want to now put assertion. So we can use await expect product name to have text, and in this we have to pass the text which is we want to compare. So what is the text we want to compare is, so for this product, let's say I want to check whether this text is present or not. So I am simply copying this text from here. So it will compare that assertions. It will check that product name on first index, that is 0th index, it is having the text, this one or not. If it is matching, test case will pass. And it will also check for the exact match. So I will just show you. So I'm just saving this, and let's execute the test case. Let's execute the test case. It will launch the test case now. So it is launching the browser. After launching the browser, it will check whether that element text is present or not. And this time it passed because we have provided the exact value here. But in to have text, if you provide partial text, for example, if I am providing, let's say I am removing some of the part. Let's save this. And now if you execute this file, this time it will fail because it is checking for exact match, but it will not find that. So it will find only this partial text. So it will fail the test case. So that also we can check. So I will just execute one more time. So it will launch the browser again and open the same URL. It will check whether this product name is having this text or not. But this time it will not find the exact text, entire text. So it will fail the test case. It will fail the assertion as well. So it is opening the page now. If you see test case got failed, it will open the report as well. In report, it will clearly show you what this assertion got failed. So we are expected string. If you see in our test case, we have provided this is as expected string. But what is the actual string received? This is the actual string which is received. So it is not matching. That's why the test case got failed. So when you use have text method, it will check for exact match. And if it does not match, then it will fail the test case. But for the same thing, if you use, let me just comment this one. But for the same product name, let's use await expect product name. For partial text matching, we have to contain method. So this time it will pass because it will check for partial text. So instead of giving the entire name, now if I provided only this much, let's say I'm just providing only this much text for that product name, this time it will pass the test case because we are partially matching. So it will check that product name is having partial text like meets Perl or not. And this time it will match and it will pass the assertion because we are using to contain text. So let's use this one. So now let's execute this file again. So this time it will pass because we have used to contain text which will partially match this text now. So it will start the test case. And the test case is passed. So if you see now, test case is passed. That means we can partially compare the text as well. So depending on your test case requirement, you can use either to have text or to contain text depending on the scenario or assertion you want to use. Now let's move to next assertion. So far we have seen text content related, element visibility related, URL and title related. That also we have seen. There is one more type, that is element count. So we can also check whether number of matching elements we can provide the count. So if there is an XPath which is pointing to multiple elements and you exactly know the count, so there can be possibility that there are some section in which there is one locator which is pointing to 5 elements or let's say 3 elements, and you want to check whether that elements always have the count of 3 or not. That we can use by using element count assertion. So we can use await, expect, locator to have count and whatever number we want to expect. So I will show you the example of this also. So in the same website, if you see, there are some sections like featured product, latest product, best sellers product. And inside this latest product, how many products you can see? 1, 2, 3 and 4. Total product count is 4. Now I want to put the condition that in this latest product section, I want to check whether there are 4 count or not. If there are 4 products are present or not. If 4 products are not present, the count of latest product is not 4, then I want to fail that test case. So first we have to find out some locator which will basically point to all these 4 products. Let's find out some locator. So I'm just using directly image one. So if you see, it is showing image tag, or we can simply use, let me just check out. So let's go some nodes above for this image tag. We want to capture the all the latest products, right? So there are total 4. So yeah, if you see this section, right? So section tag. So this section tag is having ID as latest. So I'm just using this, trying to create one XPath using this section. So 2 times slash, what is the tag name? Section we are using. So let's use section tag at the rate ID equals to latest. So it is pointing to only one section, but inside this if I put double slash 2 more time and I want to reach to IMG, now it is capturing all the 4 images. If you see inside the section at the rate ID equals to latest, then I am directly moving to all the IMG tags present inside those section. So total 4 elements it is capturing. If you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the XPath I can use. It is pointing to how many elements? Total 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. So let's copy this. I'm just copying this. I will store all the 4 elements. So this is our example for element count assertion. So I will just use, let's say, products. I'm defining one constant for latest underscore products equals to page dot locator. Inside this I am passing that locator which we have captured. It is pointing to how many locators? Total 4. And we are storing those in latest products. Now I can use await, expect latest products, the constant which we have created. I'm just copying it. Let's paste it here. And now we can use assertion, that is to have count. to have count. Now I can put the value. So total how many counts are there? Total 4. So if I put 4 here, it will check this latest products in this section, latest section is having total 4 elements for this XPath or not. If it is matching, it will pass, and if it is not matching with this count, then it will fail. So let's execute this test case. Let's execute this file now to check our element count assertion for this specific locator, latest products, which are total 4 there. So it is starting the test case. So it is launching the browser. It will open the website. It will check the locator which we have used is pointing to total 4 elements or not. And if you see, successfully it passed as well. It successfully passed. Assertion matched. Now let's say I change the count here. Intentionally I am making it as a 5. So what will happen? So this test case will fail now, because when test case will be executed, we are giving the count of 5. We are expecting to have the count of 5 for this locator. But when the test case will executed, it will get how many locators for this latest products? Total 4. It will mismatch and it will fail the test case. So let's execute this time. To check the failure, we are intentionally making this failure. So it will start the test case. So it is starting the test case now. It is launching the browser. It will open the web page, but this time it will fail the test case. If you see, test case got failed. It will show you the report as well. In browser, it is opening the report. It will show you why it is failed. So if you see, expected is 5. We are put the condition that we want expected as 5. But what actually received, total how many products were there in latest product? Only 4. So this condition mismatched. That's why our test case got failed. So this is about to have count method. Or this assertion basically used to check number of matching elements. Now there are some more assertions. For example, state of element. Sometimes on our web page, we can have some element which are in disabled state. So in such case, we can use locator to be disabled. If that element is disabled, it will pass the test case. If you want to check any element which is in enabled state, we can use dot to be enabled assertion. So if that element is enabled, it will pass the test case. There is one more, that is attributes. We can check any element to have attribute, any specific attribute and value it is having or not. That also we can check. So I will just show you that example. So on the same web page, what I will check, let's say this is search keywords text box. If you inspect this element, it is an input field with some ID, and there are some attributes as well. So I want to check whether that element is having the placeholder attribute search keywords or not. So I'm just creating the XPath for this locator by using input 2 times slash input @id equals to filter keyword. This is I am removing. So this is highlighting only single element, that is search keywords. So I'm just copying this XPath and I want to check this element. This element is having placeholder attribute with search keywords value that I want to assert. So I will go to my script again. In this script, I'm just showing you the example hop attribute and value. So I'm just checking if my locator element is having specific attribute and value or not. So I will just create, let's say, I can directly use also. So I'm just using expect. I'm just directly using the assertion now. Await expect. Here we have to provide that locator which we have captured for that searching field, and then we can use dot to have attribute. We just have to use page dot locator, and then we have to pass this locator in it, and now I can use dot to have attribute. What attribute we are expecting? So I'm just expecting placeholder attribute to have which value. What is the value we are expecting? Search keyword. So if you see, this is the value search keyword. So I'm just copying this. So this is our assertion. Here we have to provide comma. Yeah. So we are expecting this element to have attribute of placeholder with this value. So this is our assertion. So I'm just saving this file. Before that, I'm just making this count as 5. Otherwise, it will fail the test case. So now let's execute this file again. Let's execute this file. So it will launch the browser, it will open the web page, it will check for all these assertions. And our test case is passed. That means all the assertions got passed now. All the assertions are passed. So that is about to have attribute assertion. We have enabled, we have disabled methods. We also have one more method, that is to be checked method, especially for radio button and for checkboxes, whether they are checked or not. To verify that, we have to be checked method as well, to be checked assertion. So I will just show you one simple example for that as well. So what I will do, I'm going to use some new web page. So I'm just going to comment all this. I'm just going to comment this code. I have commented the rest of the code because I'm going to show you example of new website now for to be checked assertion. So what I will do, I will simply launch www.facebook.com. After launching the facebook.com, what I will do, so let me show you the example here as well. So I will just launch facebook.com. After launching this, what I will do, I will click on sign up for Facebook. On this, I will check this female checkbox. On this female checkbox, I will use to be checked assertion. So once I will use to be checked assertion, it will fail because checkbox is not checked. But if I check this and then if I use to be checked assertion, then it will pass the test case. So let's see both the examples. So I'm just going back. So once you have to go to facebook.com. After going to facebook.com, we have to click on this sign up for Facebook button. So I have to just locate this element. So I'm just locating this. Let's say I can use text method of XPath as well. So inside this anchor tag, I'm using text method equals to, what is the text which is present? Sign up for Facebook. So it is highlighting that link. So I'm just copying this link. Let's use this link. And now let's go to script. Inside this script, let's use await page dot locator. Inside this, we have to pass that locator dot click. So it will click on that link. After clicking on that link, we will land up on this registration page. Once you land up on this page, we want to locate this element. So let's say this female one, checkbox, or we can say a radio box. What is the locator for this? ID equals to 6 and value equals to 1. So I'm just creating one XPath for this as well. Input tag @ID equals to 6. And I can simply, so this is highlighting total 3 elements. So I will just use one more additional, that is value equals to 1. If you see, this is having value equals to 1 for this first checkbox. So I will use and @value equals to 1. So now this will highlight only single element. I am just copying this XPath. Let's copy this XPath and let's use it here. So I will just use await. I will use expect condition directly now. Expect page dot locator. In this I am just passing that locator. So this is a locator for that female radio button, and I want to use to be checked assertion here. It will check whether that checkbox is clicked or not. But currently it is not clicked. First time it will check it is not clicked. So it will fail that assertion. So let's execute this test case to understand it. So I'm just launching this. So it will launch the browser, it will go to facebook.com, it will click on sign up button, then it will open the radio button form of that registration form. It will check for the female button, radio button, whether it is checked or not. But it is not checked, so it will fail the assertion. So if you see, now it is opening this registration form, but test case will fail. If you see, one failed. And it will open the report now, and in the report it will show you why it is failed. Why exactly it is failed? Because expected is checked. We have used to be checked assertion. So it is expecting that it is checked. But what is received? Unchecked. That radio button is unchecked. That's why. Now what we will do in our script, we will click that element first. So what I will do, I am just using await page dot locator. That same locator I am going to click now. This locator, that is basically radio button for that female. I am selecting it, pasting it here, and what we want to do, we want to click on it first. So it will check that checkbox, and then it will check whether it is checked or not. But this time it will be checked, because when you go here, it will check this button first, and then it will check whether that button is checked or not. So in that case, that radio button is already selected now, so it will pass the test case. So let's execute the test case now. I am just saving it, and let's execute now. It is launching the browser. It will launch the browser. It will open the facebook.com. And it will pass the test case this time. It happened so fast. Basically, it actually clicked that button as well. So I'm just showing you in debug mode so that we can actually see the execution. So let me again re-execute in debug mode this time. So it will launch in debug mode. It is launching in debug mode. So Playwright Inspector is launched. Browser is also launched. I will click on next. It will open the URL. I am clicking on next. It will click on sign up link. Then if you see now, when I click on next, it will execute the clicking on female button. If you see, female button is clicked. Now if I click on next, it will check for assertion. It will check that locator is checked or not. It is checked this time. So it will check and pass the test case. So that is about to be checked assertion in Playwright. So we have mostly covered all the commonly used assertions so far. We have seen element visibility, text content related, attributes related. We have seen to be checked and to be checked for radio button and checkboxes as well. There is one more, that is enabled and disabled. Page title related also we have seen, and count related also we have seen. So totally there are multiple assertions method are there. So if you want, you can explore on their official documents as well. But these are the most used and most commonly used assertions. So depending on your test cases scenario you want to validate, we can use these assertions in our Playwright test case scripts. One more thing I wanted to show you, that is, let me just go to script. Let me comment this code and let me start with some basic code which we have written earlier. So what I will do, I will just uncomment this much code only. Okay, so what I want to show you is, so far we have seen all the assertions which we have seen. These are kind of a positive scenarios. We wanted to have this URL. We wanted to have this title. We also always wanted to check that this element is visible or not. But sometimes for negative test cases, we also want that sometimes we want to verify some negative scenarios. Where, let's say, I will show you the example. Let's say I don't want this logo to be present on my web page. So my test case is, I am expecting that this logo is not present on my web page. So just understand, I just want to make the negative test case where I want to check some specific element is not present on my web page. So if I want to check that this logo is not present on my web page, then I can use the assertion like this. So I will simply use await expect logo. After that, I'm just using dot not statement. I have to use dot not. So what it will check is, it will verify that logo element is not visible. If it is visible, then test case will fail. If it is visible, then test case will fail, because we have put assertions of not here. Negative assertion we have put. We are expecting that logo should not be present. That logo should not be visible. But if it is visible, then test case will fail. If it is not visible, then test case will pass. So now if I execute this test case, what will happen? Test case will fail because we are expecting this logo not to be visible, but it is actually visible. So it will fail this test case. But we can use the negative assertions like in this manner. So I will just execute this test case in normal mode. We can use for all these assertions, we can use dot not. So in case you want to use the negative assertion, we can use like this. So it will check that logo element should not be visible, but in our test case it is actually present. So it will mark the test case as failed because we have put the negative assertion here. But if in reality, if that logo is not present, then it will pass the test case. So it is starting the test case. And if you see, it has failed the test case. And in report, it will show you why it is failed. So what it will show you? If you see expected string, this one, this is something different. Okay, so I got it. So okay, so this assertion actually failed. So what I will do, I will just simply comment this one. Let's save this and let's execute one more time. Let's execute because it has failed because of the previous assertion. Now I'm just commented that previous assertion, it will check only for negative assertion now. So only this assertion I have kept in my script. So let's execute this file. It will fail the test case because we are expecting that logo not to be visible, but it will be visible. So it will mismatch and test case will fail. So it is launching the web page. Test case is failed. It will open the report in the browser. If you see, okay, so it is failing because we have to put this URL first to open the web page, right? So we have to use await page.goto. I'm just putting this URL here, so it will launch the browser. So let me write the statement again. Await page.goto. This is the URL. Let's save this file and let's re-execute the test case again. Or what I can do, I can simply comment this assertion as well. So now we have only opening this URL. Then we are checking this locator of logo is not to be visible. So Control C. Let's execute this file. So it is launching the web page now. It is starting the test case. It is opening the browser. It will open the web page. And it will fail the test case because we have put the negative assertion here. We are checking if that logo is not visible, but in reality that logo will be found and it will fail the test case. If you see now, it is expecting not visible but received visible. So that is the benefit of using not assertion. So in some of the scenarios in your test cases, if you feel that we want to verify something not to be there, then we can use negative assertion. So these are some assertions example we have seen for Playwright. So thank you for watching this video. In coming session, we will see some more interesting topic about